Right now, AI hype is everywhere in our industry. Most contractors know it's coming, and most people know it's going to change things, but not that many people have really got it to work for them. And those that have really tried, a lot have walked away and gone, this AI is really not that useful. And in this video, I'm going to share with you why generic AI is failing for the construction industry and why that's actually changing and what we can start doing about it right now so you can stay ahead of it. Here's the thing. Construction isn't the first industry that's kind of gone through this. I'm going to take a look at both healthcare and legal. They've all hit sort of the same wall in a way, as there's this wave of excitement that comes through. Everyone starts using these AI tools and then it fails, sometimes really badly. Like for example, in healthcare, there were doctors using generic AI to help with diagnosis. The results were dangerously unreliable. We're talking about AI confidently giving wrong answers on medical cases. It wasn't until specialized medical AI for that specific use case came along and tools built for that domain that they actually jumped to where it needed to be for it to actually be useful. And then in the legal areas, lawyers were literally getting fined for submitting AI generated court filings with case citations that didn't even exist. The AI had just made them up. But purpose-built legal AI connected to actual databases solved that problem again. So the lesson is the same every time. Generic AI just doesn't really work for what you need. It falls apart when the stakes are real and the domain expertise and specialization is there as well. The fix is always some purpose-built AI that actually understands your context. Context is everything. So what does that actually look like in construction? Well, if you've tried using it and felt like it wasn't that useful, it's probably because it didn't have the context it needs to understand what your actual issue was. So it doesn't know what your specs were, it doesn't know what your schedule is, it doesn't know who your subs are, what the site conditions are, what point even you are in the project. Nothing. You ask it a question about what the QA requirements are for a retaining wall, and it gives you a generic answer, which may be used for mapping out what you need, but it doesn't tie to the specs, which tells you exactly what's required. It's not that the AI is dumb, it just doesn't have the information it needs to give you a good answer. And that leads to the next problem. And there's a massive gap between what project management textbook says and what actually works at 6 a.m. on a job site and is relevant to your actual processes, because every process in every business is slightly different. So generic AI gives you that textbook version, whereas you need the field version tailored to you specifically, your team, and your constraints. And that's a completely different thing. Now, also, in most industries, if AI gives you the wrong answer, it's just sort of embarrassing. Maybe it's a wrong email or marketing copy or whatever. But in construction, it can be dangerous or even cost a lot of money. Like AI can confidently give incorrect safety information, wrong code references, and just in general bad structural assumptions. And it doesn't tell you when it's guessing either. It presents everything with that same confidence, whether it's right or wrong. And now I'd be lying to you if I said this hasn't improved, because it absolutely has. The newer models are significantly more accurate than even a couple of months ago. But the risk is still very real that when you're using AI without verifying the output, it can lead to some seriously bad things. So the good news is there are ways to significantly reduce this. Like if you set it up on your own database of project information and give AI access to that, then instead of pulling from general knowledge, it can pull from your specific context, and the hallucination rate drops significantly just with this small change. Like Google's Notebook LM is actually a great tool for this. You upload your specific documents, your specs, your standards, and it only answers based on what's in those documents, and it will actually tell you if it doesn't know something instead of just making it up. And that's a completely different experience. One other thing to be careful is that even if you plug construction drawings straight into AI, it may not necessarily be able to read everything you can see that well. And that can lead to also some quite bad hallucinations. Now, you can significantly improve this by adding an extra step, running a script that allows it to extract the vector data from the drawings so that it gets some actually useful geometric information. And that combined with the visual, it does increase its reliability significantly, but it still has every chance that it's going to hallucinate and get something wrong. And the other thing is that AI doesn't talk to your software and systems. Like, say, if you use Procore or your accounting system or your scheduling software or even where your files are. So it's formed kind of this island for itself. It can't see your actual project data, so it can't give you the best answers based on your actual situation. But the good news is it's getting easier and easier to solve this. The tools to connect AI to existing systems are maturing really fast. Things like APIs, integrations, and connectors are being built specifically for this purpose. So the goal of giving AI ultimate context on everything is getting much closer. So it's not just about uploading those documents, but live data from the systems you're already using. So here's what's actually working, and this is where it gets exciting, because the tools to do this properly are available right now. And tools like Claude projects or ChatGPT projects are a great place to start, because you can do things like upload your key documents, and that may be like the specs, the contract, some drawings, and some other information in there that is specifically relevant to it, so that the AI actually knows the project you're talking about. Now, it's not the perfect solution because Claude projects, I think, are currently only, the limit's about 10 files, so you can't dump your entire project in there, and it's static, it's not live, it's not updating all the time, so it can't stay up to date with what's going on. But giving it those base documents does significantly increase the outputs it gets. Like, think of RFIs. You can feed in the question that you have, and it can go through and look at the specification and reference it as well, and just to have that general better understanding about what you really need. And one really powerful way that AI is moving and changing is things like Claude Skills, which handles specific tasks reliably and the same way every time. A skill is basically an SOP for AI. It's not just a set of instructions, it's actually like a whole folder, where inside that folder you can have the core procedure, and then it also can have references folders within that to different things, and output templates, so a document when the format you'd like things to come out as, and it can even have reference code in there which can run different scripts depending on what the solution actually is. The skill handles a lot of the heavy lifting, so you don't have to explain every single time what you want and where to look for that information. So, for example, you could build a skill for drafting RFI responses. You give it a template that defines exactly what those sections that the response needs, a reference file with your company standards around this, and the procedure tells it to pull from your specs, check the relevant drawings, assess the cost and schedule impacts, and format it all into your company's RFI template. And you set that up once, and then every single RFI after that comes out in that same consistent professional format. And if you don't like something, you just update it so you can continually improve it over time. And it can be the same thing with any process that you run through on a construction site, in a project, or in your business. It's just making this library of skills that can handle a bunch of these tasks already and putting that work in up front. Now, I'm actually building that library with a couple of others in this industry who are way ahead of the curve when it comes to this sort of thing. So if you want to check out the library of construction skills we've been working on, check out the link in the description. Now, taking this concept a little bit further, and this is something I've been playing around with yet. And the concept is incredibly powerful, but I haven't quite cracked the full implementation. I had enough time to play around with how it might work. But the idea involves using Claude Code and a dedicated workspace. So picture a folder structure for each project, which has the specs, the drawings, the RFIs, data reports, contract meeting minutes, your email updates, access to the financial data, basically everything up to date in a system and structured so that the AI can find everything it needs when it needs it without blowing its context window. So when you run things in that project, it literally has as much as you can give it about that project, and it's almost as up to speed as you are. So every time you ask it a question, it automatically knows what's going on and where you are with the project. So it kind of is like would be like your AI assistant in a way. Now, It's still a concept of mine. I'm still working on it, but you'll be sure to be the first to know once I've cracked that and get it out to the world. And obviously, it goes without saying that no matter how well structured you have that folder and how much information you give AI, when it comes to construction, it's never going to know as much about what's going on for that project as you are, because it can't walk site and get those conversations that happen daily with someone. There's just so much context in that too that you will struggle to ever be able to give it. So that's why it's still critically important that the AI doesn't make those important decisions for you. You let it draft, summarize, review, and flag things, but ultimately you make the call. And as you build trust with how it performs, then you can expand on what you give it. So to sum it all up, the construction industry is probably one of the least digitized industries out there. And that means the opportunities for the contractors who figure this out early is huge. The ones that learn how to use AI in the right way and not just asking it random questions are going to have a serious competitive advantage. And the one way I've been thinking about it is it benefits the small contractors significantly at the moment, because a big part in what it can help is that documentation, which often falls to the side when you have a smaller team and you're busy and you just don't have time to keep up. So if you want to stay up to date, and we've got some more videos coming out on exactly how to implement this stuff, so I'll see you in those.